Thanks for having us on, man. You over in Perth area with the West Coast?
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Damn, you guys are all pissed we're not coming to play there.
We're always pissed that bands are not coming over to play
Uh
here.
man, we come and play there. We came and play there every tour but this one.
Yeah.
Eh, maybe there was one other one that didn't come in. It's tough. I'm bummed too. We love it. Perth is legendary. It's almost equidistant from Washington, D.C. So it's like when I'm there, it's almost just like the exact opposite time. It's fucking crazy. I
Yeah.
love it. I was stuck there for like a week once, so I remember this very, very vividly. And so for those in you, Perth, I'm sorry. I hope this isn't just a bummer of an interview. So cheers, man.
What did you end up doing in that week in Perth then?
Okay, first of all, we went to the Bon Scott statue because we went to the Bon Scott grave because then two of the guys rented a car or somehow they got down south to like a boat charter and did some boat charter thing where they went to some island that's off like south of Perth, off of the coast. It's like some touristy thing. And
Oh,
then the
right next.
rest of us went, yeah. And then the rest of us went and got fucking sunburn.
Yeah.
Okay. Like never before partying on the beach all day, just roasted. And then the next day had to hide because everybody got so sunburned. And we were all staying at this kid's house. All right. I'm going to start. To back it up. The last time we toured Australia, it was with 6 Feet Under and Devil Driver, except for that it wasn't because both those bands canceled on our flight to Australia.
Oh,
So when we
right.
landed here, we were stuck. And it cost way too much money to change everything because we had all these internal flights that led us back there. It was a mess. So
Yeah.
we were forced to like rebook a tour based on like using the internet to find shows every day. And when we finally got to Perth, the only place we could find a show was at this kid's house. Okay. And he had a sick ass house with a big pool and a big jam room. And he invited all his friends over there. And there was a big deal. Like, we couldn't announce that we were playing because of a visa issue or something. So we ended up having to just play this guy's house as a party, which is what it all was. Mr. Visa Man, if you're watching this, it was just a party that we played. And
Mm.
then we were stuck there. We hung out in the dude's house, slept in the room we played in for like 3 days, and it was awesome. But we just sort of hung out and we waited until our flight could get us back. And that was the end of the tour. So everybody had just been, like I said, sunburned and partied out. But some of the guys who went down south really had a blast. And we remember it, man. We love it. It's like a dream to get to go to Perth when you're a kid growing up watching like interviews with Bon Scott and he's like
Mm.
talking about it and shit. And it sounds like, I mean, I know it sounds cliche, but dude, I love
Yeah.
fucking heavy metal. AC/DC is one of my favorite bands of all time. Might have been the first time anybody ever brought up the idea of how cool Australia was in my life. Was
Mm.
in a conversation about AC/DC the first time when I was like, 8 or 9 or whatever. So it's like always been connected. Australia's always been connected to me to a bunch of music and bands and the lore around it. So that's a long answer to your question, but that's what we did. We
No,
hung out
but
at the kid's house.
no, that's it's obviously great because you have all these sort of great memories and great stories from tours like that, and that's what being in a band is all about, right? Coming back with all these sort of great sort of memories and stuff that you can sort of take home and share with other people.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the best reason to do a band is
Mm.
the experience of traveling like the world, going somewhere new, playing songs you and your like gang wrote uh to people that like them. You're like, what the fuck? And then you like sell a t-shirt to somebody who lives over here, like, this is crazy. I
Yeah,
mean, it's the best. And there's a lot of darkness, there's a lot of sacrifice that has to happen to live that lifestyle, but
sure.
the reward has really been the adventure of it. And we've been in a band for so long, we've lived through all the different pitfalls that now more than ever it really feels like fun to go do these trips, get there, rehearse. We have a little system everybody gets in their zone, and it feels like a natural thing. So I think whereas some bands might feel like they want to have more of a production or more of a road crew, or some bands might feel like they want more time to sleep, we're just like, we kind of thrive on the sort of commando warfare action of it all, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And what about, I mean, it's like many other bands over the last couple of years, been affected by the COVID and pandemic stuff. Was that to you as a band one of the most difficult times to get through it all, or?
I mean, well, there's like, I mean, it's a tough question because it's like, no, none of us got sick or died or anything. You know what I mean? Yeah, it was tough, but like we just sat around and, partied in the basement and played music and fucking, worked on record and figured out how to make a Patreon and go and like get on the internet and do a live stream. It was hard to readjust and reinvent ourselves, but in a lot of ways, it was nice to reset what we had been doing. So I think we learned a lot over that time. And I think that the band that's coming to Australia now is stronger and better and more well equipped and more excited to do what we're doing than a band that would have been prior to what we had to go through, during the pandemic. So I think, yes, it sucked, but I think the perspective of that sucking so bad and fighting through it has made like the little wins, like getting to go to Australia or getting to go to Colombia or getting to go to Europe or even getting to do an awesome tour in America, just like having people continually enjoy the band for this many years. So it's worth it. And it's definitely worth that 19-hour flight. That's why we were like, all right, let's go,
Yeah. So I know you guys have been working on some new material for the next album. Can we expect to see any new songs on the set list in Australia?
Man, I love this question. Okay, look, yes, man, we're fucking done. Not done, but we're done. We're recording it right now, but we've written it. And unlike the other records, we took a lot of time in the beginning, recording and practicing and shit, so we can play this whole thing. Like if we like won some sort of contest that was like play the whole new album, man, put us in. Like it's kind of crazy, but I don't think that we have the urge to necessarily do that because it's been, like we said, a long time since we've been back, and we really appreciate that there are a lot of people that have been listening to Darkest Hour in Australia. It's our third most popular streamed country in the world. So we really want to give people the chance to hear, what we're about and the music that they've loved. Because if you're at this show, you found out about Darkest Hour and you probably heard something before you got there.
Yeah.
So we have this balance along with like, we like to play all night, but we got to play 6 cities in a row and fly to all of them. So we have to make sure the set doesn't go on for like, 3 hours. So we've got to just find how many songs can you do. And we know our fans, you know what I mean? I don't really like to call them fans, but we know the people that enjoy heavy metal like we do, that like this band. And, we know what everybody likes. And so we feel like connected. So it's not super hard to know what the set is. It's more like planning a party for your friends where you know that they're going to like it all, but really want to like surprise them a little bit.
Yeah.
And, give it, you know how to make the structure of a badass Darkest Hour show. I mean, we've been doing them for 30 years, but you need to find those little special things to pop in there. And so I don't know. All I can say is, we're not coming to your city, but if you have a chance to get to the shows somehow, we are going to be trying to make sure that the set says, this is Darkest Hour kind of thing.
Sure. Yeah. So for each city, then do you sort of change the set list a little bit, or do you sort of keep to a routine?
Well, man, that's tough. I sometimes, if something's really like working and there's not a lot of time to prepare in between the shows, because there's a little bit of like, we'll bring an awesome road crew, by the way, 2 guys that are killer, Tito and Chris, shout out. And there's just a little bit that goes into like making this all pop the way we want to live. And so we want to make sure that they have the fluidity to do what they need to do. So to make the show happen as much as the set, it's not just like we're up there just like oh yeah, next one's called this. It's like there's some thought to how the set flows and how the show flows and how it looks and how it feels and sounds. So, those things have to be taken into consideration. So I guess the short answer to that is I don't know. Sometimes we do. Sometimes we play the same set. Sometimes we change it. Fuck. Everybody might break down and want to play a new song. Get over it. For all you motherfuckers in Australia, pack out every show and just keep yelling. When we're done, just keep yelling. Then eventually we'll have to play some of the new songs.
Yeah.
I just leave it at that.
So speaking of the new songs, how is the new album coming together? How does it feel to you guys? What do you think of it so far?
This is gonna sound crazy, but I can say it because we're not done, but we're close enough to being done with the tracking. We should be done with most of the tracking by this Friday. But when we come back from Australia, we still have about a week or two to do stuff, man. It's like putting a painting together. It's really like the layers. So we have some more shit to do when we get home. But where I'm at now, I can say it is a mix of excitement, joy, like, and relief, which is weird. But like there has been a lot of anxiety the whole time trying to album 10. Why does it matter? What can we do? How should it sound? All of the things that we wanted to shit in the past. How do we do this? Well, we don't have a label. How do we afford this? Well, I want it to be like this, And I think that it's pretty cool because we've at least eclipsed the hardest part of that journey, I think. I mean, there's a lot more work to putting out a record and finishing it and birthing it to the world and then owning it and performing it. But that first part of that birth, when you're like conceiving, when it's just like coming together, that's like really the hardest part because that's where the most self-doubt can get in there and tear it up or change it up. And so it's like the more it gets to where it's at, the more it's become a thing and it's unstoppable, and then there's a point where it's unstoppable and it will be alive. So fuck it. I don't have to do that again for a while, kind of thing. Yeah. And so I'm sure that will also be replaced very soon by like dread of being like, oh fuck. So now what? But that's not there yet. Okay. So let's just take the win for now. Let's take the win for now.
Yeah. Well, we're looking forward to hearing that when that comes out. Is that expected to be out like later in the year then, like at the end of the year?
Yeah. As I mentioned, we have a Patreon. If you're not into the internet shit, I totally get it because I hate it too. But if you are on the Patreon, we really connect. We really go the extra mile to give people the, hear the stuff first, see the stuff first, get first access to buying it. We're going to be giving them all a copy of the record once it's done. But there also will be a release more worldwide through a bigger label partner that I can't announce yet because they got a whole big plan for that. But like we were able to, with our Patreons, fund the creation, the birth of the record, make some really badass demos and a whole bunch of other B-sides and songs people might, things that got left on the floor that the Patreons will get little snippets of into here, or maybe even have because of all the video and content we've been posting. And eventually there'll be a more bigger picture album that will be released everywhere, but the Patreons have helped create it with us. And now, it will be a real album, a real thing, and it'll come out later this year, like you said. And I wish I could say more about that, but you just can't. Nowadays you got to have the plan, otherwise it's like you all won't even hear about it.
Yep, exactly.
So we're gonna trust the process, right?
Yeah. Well, as I said, looking forward to that. And so, any last words at all for the Aussie fans before you get here?
First of all, we love you. We are so sorry we haven't been back in a while, and we want to party with you. So if you love the sound of electric guitar, some dude screaming his ass off, and some guy playing drums out of his mind, and a bass player actually playing the songs perfectly in tune, right? You know what I mean? If you like all that shit, then make sure you come and see this show because we love heavy metal, and it's so hard to get to your country, and it isn't anything without the people that are there. So I would encourage people to come. And if you do have tickets, man, thank you. We are getting on that flight in less than a week. So See you in the pit soon.